polling now, revealing how interested voters are in the 2020 election. Good stuff here. 63% of Democrats say they are extremely interested. 56% of Republicans say the same. Karl Rove is here live. He is in Aspen, Colorado, where the suffering is real, and I pity you, my friend. How you doing, Karl? Good morning to you. I've got a number of things I want to share.
I'm holding up as well as I can. I'm holding up as well as I can.
You look great, too. All right, so go ahead and I've got a launch pad here for a bunch of polling stuff, but go ahead and tell us where you think it is as of today.
Well, what's interesting in the poll is that since March, Biden has been sort of stable, 31% in March, 31 today, a little vibration in between, but sort of stays in the same race. The real movement is the movement for Elizabeth Warren. She is up to 20. She's gone up 16 points. That's been at the expense of Bernie Sanders, who's dropped 13. If you look into the internals, it's very clear she's taken votes directly away from him and pulling from the lesser lights who weren't able to get it launched.
Okay.
And there's an interesting dichotomy.
Yep.
There's an interesting dichotomy that's going to keep showing up. Older Democrats favor Joe Biden. Younger Democrats favor Elizabeth Warren. And we'll see this again and again in the poll, a division between older and younger Democrats.
Okay, let me on screen then exactly what you're talking about. Here it is. We'll highlight Elizabeth Warren. She's at 20% now. She was at, no, that's the wrong one, guys. Back it up one time. She was at 12% in July, so that was just about a month ago. So she's made a move here now. But you just said something.
Yeah.
You think she pulls exclusively from Bernie Sanders and not from Joe Biden?
Yeah, Biden is not growing himself, but he's not losing support either. What we don't know from this poll is he solidifying his support. But can I give you a big cautionary sign right now? National polls really mean less than the polls that are going on in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada, the early primaries. And even those polls are less important than what is happening on the ground in Iowa in terms of the organization of the candidates. Because remember, Hillary Clinton was way ahead of Barack Obama, leading the polls in not only the national polls, but the polls in Iowa. But he built a strong organization, and then the moment came. And every candidate has to hope for the moment. And the moment came at the Jefferson-Jackson Day dinner in 2007, close to the end of the year. He gave a speech, caught imagination, fire started to burn, and he had the organization that could keep it growing and glowing until the
You're making the case that none of this matters right now. I mean, that's...
Well, I don't want to say none. I want to say we got to be cautious about it. This is important. Warren is showing some movement. If she's having movement nationally like this, she's probably having movement in those early 4 states, and Iowa's one that I think is well suited to her. It has it's a farm state, but it has, and she's originally from Oklahoma, so she has sort of a sympathetic nature to there, but also that party has a very liberal wing, and so she's going to probably do very well among. She basically, my suspicion is taking Bernie's Iowa supporters and making them Warren supporters.
Wow, very interesting. All right, explain this one. All right, vote preference. Donald Trump right now trails Joe Biden by 12 at 50-38. He trails Bernie Sanders by 9, Warren by 7, and Kamala Harris by 6. Based on history, how come?
Look, he's a polarizing figure, and Democrats, as you said in your opening statement, are more energized than Republicans at this point. No Democrats able to break 50, break above 50. That's interesting. And it's real. Let's not kid ourselves. There have been nearly 40 polls this year matching Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and Joe Biden is led in every one of them. The president is an underdog, but he's been an underdog before, and he's going to have plenty of material to work with. More material with some Democrats if they get nominated than with others, but plenty of material to work with.
All right, so go ahead and analyze this. We asked the question, what is more important among Democrats now? What's more important in deciding your primary vote? Restore politics to normalcy, 60%. So you're almost at 2/3 as opposed to changing how Washington works at 36%. You say what to that, Karl?
Well, I think that's, again, the older you are, the more you want to restore things and get back to normal. The younger you are, the more you want to have, and the key phrase there was fundamentally change Washington. So, again, this age divide is showing up. If you're a young Democrat, you tend to believe we need fundamental change in the country. If you're an older Democrat, you yearn for normalcy. That's why Biden's doing as well as he is. But there's a lot of movement in this. But and again, the trouble sign for President Trump is they're more interested. Democrats are more interested in get somebody who will return to normal than somebody who will have these lavish, expensive, fundamental transformations of America's society, economy, and our nation.
Okay, tough question to answer then. Is that enough motivation to win? Is that enough motivation to drive your voters out, Karl?
Well, look, we don't know yet. Yes, in some instances it might, in other instances it might not. And the key here, I think, is what ability does the president have to say, look, you may have concerns about me, but look at how good the economy has been. Look at what I've been doing. And look at where they want to go. This is why the more liberal and the more left-wing a candidate he faces, the better his chances for election are, because we've seen, for example, a rapid change in people's attitudes towards Medicare for all. If you tell them you're going to lose your private health insurance, you're going to have to stand in line, it's going to be government-run, single-payer, it's going to cost $32 trillion over the next decade, they suddenly go from saying, well, that sounded like a good idea, to saying it sounds like a very, very bad idea. So, again, the president's the underdog, but the question is how much material is he can be able to work with in terms of the values, the views, and the public statements of his opponent.
How about the 90 minutes of material he was using last night in New Hampshire? How about that rally? I think he had 10 to 12,000 inside. You had 5,000 outside. That's what the campaign reports. That's big. It's significant, Karl.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, and look, for me, it's not necessarily the significant thing is not the size of the crowd. George McGovern had huge crowds in 1972. The significant thing to me is that they have a very highly professionalized, data-driven collection of all the information about they know everybody who requested a ticket. They know everybody who showed up in there, and they have their contact information, their cell phone, their email address, and they're doing that systematically. And think about what would have happened in 2016 had they done that. Now they're doing it in 2017 and 2018 and 2019, and they're systematically collecting that data, and then they're going to turn those, what will eventually be millions of people, into an army. I mean, they had 100,000 people request tickets for a rally in Texas. They know everything they want to know about those people. They had something like 40 or 50,000 want to attend a rally last year in El Paso. They know everything that they need to know about those people, and they're going to aim for an army of persuasion to turn those people into advocates for Donald Trump among their neighbors, the people they worship with, that they work with, that they socialize with, that they're members of their family. And if they're successful in that, that's going to be a powerful, powerful thing. That's what's important about these rallies, not just simply, that there was a great 90 minutes on television for them.
That's a great point. That's great. Karl, thank you. It really gives us something to watch. Barack Obama did it. Denver, Colorado, the DNC, the convention, and the outdoor stadium, that was all about getting people in so they get their cell phone numbers and emails, right?
Right. As I recall, you and I were there watching it, and it was an amazing moment. But think about this. That was one moment in July I believe it was, of 2008. Now we're talking about them spending essentially 3 years doing this time and time again in critical battleground states. They now have probably, I would suspect, 20 or 25,000 people in the New England area, the vast bulk of them in New Hampshire, whom they now are able to touch at their discretion and under the radar. We're not going to be able to see all that they're doing to touch those people, persuade those people, arm those people with arguments to use on their behalf, and mobilize them, because now, having captured that information, they've got their own newspaper, they got their own TV station, they got their own personal persuasion effort, and it's called social media.
Yeah, that's a great point. Karl, thank you. Enjoy Aspen, where the struggle's real. See you real soon. Karl Rove from Colorado. Great stuff there.
Thank you, Bill.